Have you ever wondered how the United States became the nation it is today? Long before the term United States was coined, the Americas were home to a mosaic of indigenous cultures. However, the landscape of these continents would drastically change after 1492, when a certain Italian explorer named Christopher Columbus, under Spanish patronage, set foot on the Caribbean islands. This event marked the beginning of a new era, an era of European exploration and colonization of the Americas. In the centuries that followed, European powers including England, France, Spain, and the Dutch Republic were drawn to the New World's abundant resources and strategic advantages. They established settlements along the eastern seaboard. The English, for instance, founded Jamestown in Virginia in 1607, and the Pilgrims, seeking religious freedom, established Plymouth Colony in Massachusetts in 1620. As these colonies grew, they became hotbeds of cultural exchange and conflict. The colonists brought with them their languages, religions, and customs, forever altering the social fabric of the Americas. Yet they also clashed with the indigenous peoples, leading to a series of bloody confrontations and wars. Over time, the colonists began to see themselves not as extensions of their European homelands, but as a distinct entity. Meanwhile, tensions were brewing between the colonies and their European overlords. The colonists, frustrated by the heavy taxes and restrictions imposed by the British Crown, began to demand greater political autonomy. Their cries for liberty and self-governance grew louder, eventually sparking a revolutionary spirit that swept across the 13 colonies. This spirit would ultimately lead them to challenge the might of the British Empire, igniting the War of Independence. And so, the stage was set for a war that would shape the future of this new land. This conflict, fueled by the colonists' unwavering desire for independence, would not only redefine the trajectory of the Americas, but also set the stage for the birth of a new nation, the United States. A new nation was about to emerge from the ashes of a brutal war. Picture this. It's the late 18th century, and the American colonies are teeming with revolutionary fervor. They're about to wage a war of independence against the mighty British Empire, a conflict that would forever alter the course of history. The War of Independence, which spanned from 1775 to 1783, wasn't just a battle for territory. It was a fight for freedom, for the right to self-governance, and for the principles of democracy. The American colonists were driven by a powerful desire to break free from the shackles of British rule, to chart their own destiny. And then, on a warm summer day in 1776, a document was adopted that would become the rallying cry of the Revolution. The Declaration of Independence, a profound testament to the colonists' resolve. Penned by Thomas Jefferson, it proclaimed, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal." This revolutionary idea, the belief in inherent human equality, would become a cornerstone of the new nation. However, the road to independence was fraught with challenges. The war was a grueling, 8-year-long struggle culminating in the British surrender at Yorktown in 1781. This victory signaled the dawn of a new era. After the dust of the war had settled, the task of nation-building began. In 1787, the United States Constitution was ratified, laying the foundation for a federal government. This remarkable document, crafted with foresight and wisdom, continues to guide the nation more than 2 centuries later. Then, in 1789, a revered figure ascended to the presidency. George Washington, a man of integrity and courage, became the first president of the United States. His leadership set the tone for the fledgling nation, steering it through its initial years of uncertainty. From the seeds of rebellion, the United States of America was born. A nation conceived in liberty, it rose from the ashes of war, embodying the ideals of democracy, freedom, and equality. Its birth was a testament to the indomitable spirit of its people, a spirit that continues to shape its destiny. A young nation, the United States was eager to grow and expand. With a landscape ripe for exploration and development, the country embarked on a period of territorial expansion that would dramatically reshape its borders and cultural landscape. One of the most significant events in this expansion was the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. With a single stroke, President Thomas Jefferson effectively doubled the size of the nation, acquiring a vast tract of land from France that stretched from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains. The deal, which cost a mere $15 million, is often hailed as the greatest real estate bargain in history. But the expansion didn't stop there. The mid-19th century saw the addition of Texas and California to the Union. The Republic of Texas, which had won its independence from Mexico in 1836, was annexed by the United States in 1845. Shortly thereafter, the discovery of gold in California set off a mass migration westward, culminating in California's statehood in 1850. This period of expansion, however, was not without conflict. As settlers moved westward, they encountered richly diverse cultures of indigenous peoples. These encounters, often marked by violence and disease, led to the dispossession and displacement of many native tribes. The desire for expansion also led to the Mexican-American War, a two-year conflict from 1846 to 1848. Sparked by border disputes in Texas, the war ended with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. This treaty not only confirmed the annexation of Texas, but also ceded a significant portion of Mexico's northern territory to the United States, including what are now the states of California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and parts of several other western. Period was ambitious and transformative, changing the physical, cultural, and political landscape of the nation. Yet, it was not without cost. The displacement of indigenous peoples and the war with Mexico left deep scars. As the nation expanded, so too did the tensions that threatened to tear it apart. The question of slavery would divide the nation in a brutal civil war. This is where our narrative takes a darker turn, as the United States found itself grappling with a moral and political crisis that would forever shape its future. The mid-19th century was a time of great tension and division. The issue at the heart of it all was slavery. While the northern states had largely moved away from this inhumane practice, the southern states clung to it as a pillar of their economy and way of life. The debate over whether new states should be admitted as free or slaveholding ignited a firestorm of controversy, driving a wedge between North and South. As the rift grew wider, the southern states took a drastic step. They decided to secede from the Union, claiming that their rights were being infringed upon. This decision marked the start of the American Civil War in 1861, a bloody conflict that would rage for 4 long years. The Union or the North faced off against the Confederacy or the South in a bitter struggle that would claim more than 600,000 lives. Amidst this turmoil, President Abraham Lincoln made a bold move. He issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, declaring that all enslaved people in the Confederate-held territories were to be set free. This didn't immediately end slavery, but it changed the fundamental character of the war. Now the Union wasn't just fighting to preserve the nation, but also to end the blight of slavery. The Civil War culminated in the Union's victory in 1865, marking the end of the Confederacy and the institution of slavery. But the scars of this brutal conflict ran deep, and the nation had a long road ahead towards healing and reconciliation. In the wake of the Civil War, a new era of change was on the horizon. The United States would have to grapple with the aftermath of the war and the challenge of reintegrating the southern states. Yet, this tumultuous period also laid the groundwork for profound transformations that would redefine the nation in the years to come. From the ashes of conflict, the United States emerged as a global power. The late 19th and early 20th centuries marked a period of growth and change. The Industrial Revolution, with its steam power and mechanized production, transformed the country's economy. The United States was no longer a young republic, it was becoming an industrial titan. As the world plunged into chaos with World War I, the United States initially remained neutral. But in 1917, it was drawn into the conflict, playing a decisive role in the Allied victory. A few decades later, during World War II, the United States once again took up arms in defense of freedom and democracy. The country's significant contributions to the war effort, both on the battlefield and on the home front, marked its emergence as a superpower on the global stage. But the fight for freedom wasn't confined to foreign shores. Back home, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum. In the 50s and 60s, brave men and women stood against racial injustice, demanding equality. Their efforts led to landmark legislation like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, transforming the fabric of American society. In the latter half of the 20th century, the United States found itself embroiled in the Cold War, a period of geopolitical tension with the Soviet Union. This era was marked by a race for technological and ideological supremacy, resulting in events like the Vietnam War. And so, the United States continues to evolve, facing new challenges in the 21st century. The story of this nation is ongoing, written by the millions who call it home. From economic fluctuations to political debates and social reforms, the United States grapples with complex issues that reflect its diverse and dynamic population. Through it all, the country continues to shape and be shaped by